Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'll be talking about Gran Turismo. So this movie will actually be in theaters August 25th, but they've been doing a lot of early previews, which I found very surprising. And we'll definitely get into this, but I have to say, I'm gonna go out and say it, this movie could be my surprise delight film of the year. I really enjoyed this movie. Seeing the trailer, it comes off, I don't know about this. And Gran Turismo as a game is one I've played it growing up, but I was never, it wasn't really my cup of tea. I didn't care for racing style games, especially this kind. I've played it on the PlayStation. I've played similar games in arcades, and just ones that I was never really drawn to or very good at. But being said, as a video game, it's not necessarily a video game adaptation. This movie is actually based on a true story. The game is such a crucial part to it. This movie is really good. So this is based on the unbelievable, inspiring true story of a team of underdogs, a struggling working-class gamer, a failed former race car driver, and an idealistic motorsports exec who risk it all to take on the most elite sport in the world. This is the synopsis, the summary from IMDb, and oh my goodness, this story is incredible. So I would put this movie in the same bucket as movies such as Air or Moneyball, things like that. So what we have here is we have a couple, really there's three core characters that we're following in their stories. We have one, which is this executive who is trying to, make a change in the world of sports. He's paying a lot of attention to the video game realm, and he sees the numbers that there's so many people playing the Gran Turismo game that want to be drivers. And what's unique about Gran Turismo is, yes, it's a video game, but it's really built to be a simulator. It's supposed to be the most accurate simulation of driving an F1 style race car on the tracks. I mean, so much attention to detail was put into these games, and some of these they call them sim drivers, are up there on the levels of being professional race car drivers. And most of these sim drivers that we follow, that's their dream, is they actually want to race in the real cars. So we follow this one kid who, he tried college, it wasn't for him. He's basically working odds and end jobs and puts all of his time and attention into the Gran Turismo game. And now we have another character, Danny Moore, played by Orlando Bloom, that basically pitches to Nissan a competition that, hey, I want to get the best of the best of the best sim drivers, and then put them into a school essentially to train them how to be professional race car drivers behind the wheels of a real car. And they accept this offer, and now he has to go basically find his chief engineer. He's got to put out the competition and get all the drivers, and that's kind of the core of the story and where we go. We have Jean, who's the main character that we follow. We get a lot of family dynamic in this. This is such a family-based story as well. We were put in a position where he has a brother that's really big into football or soccer. They're over in the UK, and the father just, he doesn't understand the world of video games. He struggles to connect with his son in this realm. Now, he understands the racing part of it. He understands that, that's a very risky career. There's a lot of dangers in it, and he would rather his son go after something a little bit more safe. And again, he realizes that he's playing video games, but he just doesn't understand that world, which causes a disconnect between them. So this is the main character that we follow that connects with Danny Moore, and then Danny has to go find his chief engineer, and that's where David Harbour comes into play, who plays Jack Salter. And David Harbour is definitely the standout performance in this movie. We're getting that Stranger Things dad vibe from him, but he's coming in here. He's tired of the team he's currently working in. He's got a history of being a race car driver, and we learn the details of that story of why he stopped racing. But he's so blunt with these kids. He tells them right away, I don't believe you can do this, and I'm here to prove that you cannot do this. And he's shaking things up because you have all these executives that are super excited about this, but now they're just like, did we make the right choice to do this? There's no telling how much money was put into this camp and the liabilities, but this movie just takes off from there because we're focused around all these kids as they're meeting, they're going through this school, they're training their bodies, they're learning how to race these cars, and the mission is to get, of course, into the professional races. And there's a lot of things that happen once we get into the races. Like I said, this is based off of a true story. You find out later on the actual Gran Turismo player, like his role in the movie itself, and you kind of get the comparisons to the real life events. There's so much more I could definitely talk about this, but I want to keep this spoiler free because I think this is a movie you should just definitely go see on the biggest screen you can. The sound is incredible as well. There's so many moments, especially in the third act, like I could just feel it all over my body when these race cars are taking off. This movie is just really awesome. I had a great time with it. It is a little potentially on the lengthy side. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, but I do think it goes by pretty quickly. There's really not much to negatives or to nitpick about this. I would say I would have liked to see a little bit more from Orlando Bloom. A lot of his acting within this felt very repetitive. He doesn't get as much screen time as the others, but so much of this is based around the relationship between David Harbour and then Archie. I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name because I don't want to butcher it, but the Jack and John relationship and how they bond and grow together to prove everyone wrong is just something really, really special. And I'll also say as a last note that music has a big part in this as well. I'll just kind of leave it at that because it adds a comedic factor, but it's funny to see that, it's kind of like a real thing as well. So, Gran Turismo, based on a true story, definitely a surprise movie for the year. It's definitely high on my list. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think this movie was so much fun, directed by Neil Blomkamp, who is most notable for things like District 9, Elysium, Choppy, all these movies that I've seen, and most of them I've enjoyed as well. So yeah, let me know if you saw this. What did you think in the comments below? Again, I'm getting this review out a bit early. This movie will be in theaters August 25th, so please definitely go see it that weekend. But yeah, once you see it, come back and let me know what you thought of this movie in the comments below. Would love to know. Speaking of race cars, what are some of your favorite race car movies? Let's talk about that as well in the comments below. I'll be back again soon. We've got Blue Beetle coming out this week, so I'm a big DC fan. Don't know much about Blue Beetle, the character. It's going to be a little bit new to me. I'm almost going in this blind. So I can't wait to check that out and talk about it later this week. So thanks once again for coming by, and we'll be back soon.